So no, let's get started.
Whoa, whoa, there we go.
There's little echo there. Okay, so it should be good. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 7th Hockey Thursday Talk, hosted by Inline Hockey Ireland in partnership with Cork Wolfpack. Before we start, as usual, we ask you to please leave your mic muted for the duration of the talk so everybody can hear. If you have any technical issues, please use the written chat. We will be taking questions at the end of the talk if you have any. And the talk will be available a week from now on the IHI's YouTube channel. So my name is Ken Musad, and today we'll have our 7th guest in the series. Please welcome PJ Kavaya. I'm afraid we have some echo.
You hear an echo?
Okay, now it should be good. Sorry about that.
No, there we go. Yeah, cool.
Please welcome PJ Kavaya, world champion in 2019 with USA.
Can you guys see me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I got kicked out.
No, you're still on.
I'm still on? Really? What? This is weird.
Yeah, it looks
I think
like
there
you
was
were logged
two
twice.
of you.
Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, we're good. Yep, sorry. Got it.
No worries. I'll start back again. Please welcome PJ Kavaya, world champion of 2019 with the USA team and player in the League Elite with les Fous du Bitume of Villeneuve near Paris. So hi, PJ. We're glad to have you here. And how you're doing?
Things are good, man. Obviously, these are strange times, but I think we're all just trying to cope with it the best that we can and just trying to stay busy.
So I guess that's the situation for everybody here. Tough for everybody to not have hockey. But for people that might not know you, can you talk a little bit about your hockey career? From junior to senior, ice, inline hockey, basically your story.
Yeah, sure. So grew up in Southern California. Started roller hockey when I was 8 years old. I played a lot of sports before that, baseball, flag football, soccer. But as soon as I put on the roller skates, I just kind of knew that it was what I loved the most. Just really enjoyed the feeling and the wind in your face when you're skating, and just kind of got involved with a good buddy of mine on like a tennis court, basically with a chain link fence and not a real rink actually. And from there, just kind of got more involved. And as I got older, ended up trying out goalie, and had a pretty good time. Actually ended up winning top goalie at this league I was talking about here. But then realized I had much more fun as a player. Ended up playing maybe when I was like 10, 11 years old at the Wayne Gretzky Roller Hockey Center, which is now currently the Irvine Inline rink in Southern California. And to this day, it's still my favorite rink ever. Got involved with ice hockey when I was about 12 years old, and kind of became more predominantly an ice hockey player once this happened. Played locally from 12 to about 15 in Long Beach and Aliso Viejo cities in Orange County. And then when I was 16, I moved to Colorado to get a little more exposure with AAA ice hockey. And didn't work out the way that I planned. I kind of got in a little bit of trouble and got kicked off the team. I moved back to California when I was 16 and ended up playing roller hockey for the rest of that season, which was one of the best things that happened to me. I kind of fell back in love with the game of roller hockey. And when I was 18, played AAA ice hockey for the LA Junior Kings. From there, got scouted by junior teams in the North American Hockey League, which is a junior A hockey league that scouts you for college. Played 3 seasons there, 2 in Minnesota and 1 in Fairbanks, Alaska. After that year in Fairbanks, Alaska, got recruited to continue ice hockey at the college Division I level at Western Michigan University. Played 3 seasons there. Didn't have a ton of playing time, but enjoyed my time there. Transferred to a D3 school in Wisconsin after my ice career was over. Didn't really have a clue of what I was going to do after, and got a message from my buddy Tyler Walzer, who currently lives in Ottawa now, but has been around roller hockey for a long time, and he invited me out to come to Paris, and I jumped right at it. And ever since that year, kind of been stuck in France in a good way. Had a great time out here, great experiences. Played with the Perry Trez Corsairs for 6 years, and this year finally decided to change brands and play for, like you mentioned earlier, the Fous du Bitume Villeneuve team. And unfortunately, our season was cut short, but we have a very strong team still, but we were very looking forward to the playoffs to see what damage we could do. Unfortunately, it never happened, but hopefully, the best is yet to come, and we'll see what happens. So that's kind of my career in a nutshell. And yeah.
And so when you mentioned your experience of inline hockey in North America, we also know that you're quite involved with the state wars, right? We can say that you're the voice of state wars, and you've played with, I believe, Mission Labela Snipers. So for the players here that do not know about state wars, can you describe to us a little bit what it's like to play for such team, what kind of tournament it is, and basically what's your experience with it?
Yeah, so I've been involved with State Wars for about 10 years now, working and also playing. I started State Wars in 2010 in what was called the Elite AAA division, and that has now been rebranded and is now called the Palma Pro Invitational, which in my opinion is the top pro tournament in the world. Um, the president of State Wars, Tim McManus, and his second, Greg Thompson, who's been involved with roller hockey for a very long time, they decide the teams that are allowed to come to this tournament because they want the competition to be at the highest level. And I've been with the Mission Labeta Snipers since 2010, so 10 coming on 10 years here. We've had a very good run. We've been very strong for 10 years. State Wars has been the premier tournament that we've played in, and ever since 2015 until last summer, we've won 3 times out of 5, which has been terrific. Can't you know? It's been just an unbelievable experience. And with regard to the level of the tournament, it's incredible. I've played in world championships before. I've been obviously in France for a long time, but for me, nothing compares to the level of the Palma Pro.
And this little question: can teams outside of the US participate? And where can people find more information about this tournament?
Yeah, so obviously, we know with the technology nowadays, you can go on statewarshockey.com, but there have been numerous other countries from throughout the world that have been involved with State Wars, especially the kids divisions, the youth divisions. I know that UK has a team as well that has gone to multiple tournaments. Rob Shelton is the coach and the organizer of that group. So if for you guys, I mean, it's a UK thing. I know I'm totally different countries here. I know you guys are in Ireland, but if you want to get involved, you need to email Tim. We've never had an Irish team, unfortunately. Maybe we could work on that and get you guys out there. It could be really cool. I think you guys would really enjoy the experience. The level from the kids divisions all the way to the pro divisions is phenomenal. Very family oriented. Obviously, with the COVID going on, it's going to be a little bit different this year, which is kind of not the best news. But right now I feel like any hockey is going to be good hockey, and if there's a way to have you guys experience this, I think that you guys would really enjoy it, and for sure something that you won't forget.
Obviously, I think that's something that's in the books for IHI maybe in the future. So we'll share that link afterwards for the people here
Yeah,
who
that could be
listen to
really
the
cool,
talk.
man. Like, yeah, for sure. I'm good friends with Tim, so if you want me to throw out a good word for you guys, I can easily do that.
Definitely, I think that everybody is quite enthusiastic about that.
Cool,
uh,
awesome.
so now let's talk a little bit about the national team, your national team.
Okay.
And at the last World Roller Games, well, you played against the previous year's title holder, which was the Czechs. And I'm just going to show you some images, and you're going to tell me basically uh, how you felt personally and how you felt with the team during that special moment. So I'm just going to share my screen
Sure.
here.
Okay. Oh yeah. So this is the finals here, hey?
Yep, that's the final. Just gonna,
Okay. If I was to guess, I would assume this is probably at the end of the game.
so
I think we're winning 2-0 at this time, and the boys are just discussing game plan, getting each other. Oh, here we go. Okay, sorry. It's a good little
so
clip here. I like the videography of the. I think it's MD.
yes,
Did it
that's
really?
them. Yep.
Okay,
So
so this is for sure after the first goal.
what are you guys talking about when you're cheering up there?
So
What's the
actually,
feeling?
no, I'm wrong. This is actually the empty net goal for the third goal of the game. We ended up winning the game 3-0, and that was the for sure, in my opinion, the final goal that for me I knew that we were winning the gold medal. Great feeling. We were on edge, obviously, very anxious to confirm the victory. Basically, you don't want to celebrate too soon. We obviously knew that Czech was a very strong team. They've won numerous world championships. I've played with and against a bunch of those guys. We're friends on and off the rink. But that moment right there with all of our team, our coaches, our staff, it's pretty surreal looking at it right now. This is pretty incredible, man. Just something that I'll always forget, or I'll always remember. I'll never forget this. Being in Barcelona with those guys, truly a spectacular just tournament overall, and the perfect result for our team. It was incredible.
And there must have been some tension during the game. There was a high-stake game, and how do you handle that kind of pressure? That's something that maybe our young players might be interested in. How do you handle that kind of high-stake game? How do the whole team, the coaches, the managers help you through it?
Yeah, so I think, like you said, it was 0-0 basically in the entire first period, and I think we scored the first goal with 11 minutes remaining. And at this point, in my opinion, you just can't get too high and you can't get too low in the game. You got to stay even keel no matter what happens throughout the game, whether there's a bad call, whether there's a bad play from a teammate. You just got to stay positive and encourage and continue to fight for what you want and what you believe in. And we all knew that we had the team to win the world championships. We knew each line played a role and each guy did their role to the best of their abilities. And in my opinion, that's what made us so successful, is that everyone did what they could do to their best for us to come out successfully as a group. And I think that, it was something that is overlooked. We had obviously a very skilled team, but it's not just about having the skilled players, it's about having the right players. And we had three lines that were just very compatible, three lines with pre-established chemistry where we played before in other tournaments years before. And I think that really helped, and the coaches did a great job of selecting that team. But in those high intensity moments, you just have to try to relax and be as calm as possible, because nothing is over until it's over. Until you hear that last horn, you have to fight for every inch on the rink, and you have to do your best to really control the game. And that's what we try to do against Czech, and I think we were pretty successful with that.
And so basically what you're saying also is that a team that is disciplined will have higher, chances in a game rather than a team that is completely unfocused and undisciplined, right?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so it's crazy, but this is one of the games where this is one of the only games that I've played in where there was actually zero penalties called in the entire game, which for me is completely crazy, especially being in Europe. In USA, you have a much physical brand of roller
Hmm.
hockey, but in Europe, things are tied a little bit more like it's more like a soccer style game where the referees, they influence a lot, in my opinion. But in this particular game, it was great to let a physical team battle against a physical team against the Czechs, and it was just for me the perfect way to have a roller hockey final. There's no influence from outsiders. There's no influences from the ref. you let the players play and you let the coaches coach, and the best team is probably going to come out on top of that situation.
Great, great. And so now I'm going to switch up to about your playtime in France in the Ligue Elite.
Sure.
Before the lockdown and the cancellation of the league this year, unfortunately, Villeneuve was ranked second in the regular season. So how was the season looking for Villeneuve? Because we all know that Rethel is such a very, very good team. How did it look for the playoffs?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we were second place. Moving forward, I believe the season got canceled at the end of February. And what we were really looking forward to in the early weeks of March was the European Cup, which was going to be held in Switzerland. I heard from numerous people that the rink was phenomenal. Like basically, I think it was a 25 by 50 size rink, plexiglass, good stands for the fans. And for me, that was something personally that I was looking forward to be able to play on a big rink with our team, with guys like Martin Fiala and guys like Nathan Sigmund, guys like Carl Gabier. These guys are very impressive on big rinks because they can skate, they can control the puck, they can move very well without the puck, and they're just very intelligent with decision making. And like I said, for me, that was something I was really looking forward to. And then after that, we actually were going to be competing in the French Cup as well. So those were two things that I specifically came to Villeneuve to compete in these two tournaments, the French Cup and the European Cup. And obviously, like you said, unfortunately, because of COVID, we were not able to play these. But hopefully, somewhere down the line, if things continue and there's a next season and I'm able to come back to Villeneuve, maybe we can regather that spark, continue what we started and see where it goes. But I think that we could have done a lot of damage in the playoffs. I think that our team is a playoff-ready team. They won last year without me, and the fact that they added me plus a couple guys, Antoine Raj and Flo Snyder, who came from different teams. Our team was ready for what was in front of us in the playoffs, and I think most importantly, our team was ready to play against Rethel because, like you said, they are probably the best team in Europe. They have a lot of Czech guys with a lot of experience, a lot of world championships under their belts. And I just think that hopefully it would have been them and us in the finals.
Well, hopefully you'll go to Carpentier, so the French Cup next year, and we'll be sure to share the link of the live stream so that everybody in Ireland can watch you play.
I've been out here for this is my 7th year, and I've never played in Carpentier. I'm kind of upset about that, and I was really hoping to this year, but unfortunate circumstances, and we'll see what happens in the future.
So now, since you're a player with a lot of experience, there's a little question that might interest like a lot of our young players that are listening here. So some might be interested, to have an experience in the nearby leagues, such as in Italy, Spain, France, and so on, which are close by. What would be your advice for young players wanting to make that jump in those leagues and and get that higher level of play, especially knowing that it's quite competitive leagues with lots of different divisions and it's quite hard. So what would be your advice for young players that would want to go on the mainland?
Yeah, it's a good question. Truthfully, I don't know a whole lot about the Italian league. I've talked to a few teams here and there, but I know that overall the league is pretty good. They don't have a lot of still mat, unfortunately, which for me is if I'm going to go to a team, I want my team to have still mat. It's the most common floor. Everybody knows that. And yeah, yada, yada. So with regard to France and Spain, though, I think these are probably regarded as the top 2 leagues in Europe. I think the French level is probably right now a little bit better, but it also depends on the flow of the imports, like the Czech players, like the US players. You have guys from Sweden, you have guys from Canada. So wherever the imports go, it kind of dictates which league is more powerful, I guess, that season. But I guess with regard to, lifestyle, living, for me, I think the Spanish league would be a lot of fun to play in. I've never played in that league. I've always kind of wanted to. Unfortunately, I've just kind of, been very loyal to the team that I've played with here in Paris. But, they have, I guess, 4 or 5 teams right along the beach. They have 3 teams that have massive size rinks that are that are great for roller hockey. I know like Valladolid gets at least 1,000 fans per game. For me, that would be a cool team to play for, is Valladolid. I've talked to Nathan Sigmund about this a lot, but he enjoyed his time there a lot, and what the president does for that team, and especially in that league, it's just remarkable. It's very cool to get that kind of support from a city that's not very big, and roller hockey is basically the only sport that they really do in that city. So it's pretty cool to be the main attraction in a city like that, where people come out and support you. With regard to France, I think the league is a little bit tighter. I think the rinks, the size of the rink is a big part of it. The smaller the rinks, it makes the game a little bit easier if you're not at the same level of, let's say, a Rattel or a Grenoble or a Caen. If you can't skate as well, you can kind of stay in front of your own net and protect your house a lot easier than on a big rink where there's a lot of space. So for me, if you want to improve, if you want a team that's super committed, if you want a team that trains not just on the rink but off the rink, France is a very good option. If you want the lifestyle, if you want the ocean, if you want awesome Spanish food, I would recommend the Spanish league. Both leagues are very good, but they're also very different in their own kind of ways.
And so let's say that one of our young players, let's say junior, comes into those countries. How can they, get better and, play, for example, in the elite league? How can they, get into contact? What's the recruitment process? And do you know a little bit about that?
So personally, not a whole lot. If I could recommend anything, I would recommend maybe playing for a team, junior team, if you're able to. Obviously, send out contacts and get your resume out there. But send letters to teams that you're interested. Send out your desire, your passions, your goals, and what you kind of bring to the table. And if a team is looking for a player like you, I think that the sky's the limit, and you don't have to be from USA, you don't have to be from Canada to come out to Europe and play. Obviously, you guys can come from Ireland, you can come from UK, you can come from Italy. It doesn't matter. And if you have the drive and the want and the passion to play this game, like I have for all these years, man, the reason I'm still here is because I absolutely, truly love this game, man. And ever since I was 8 years old, like I told you, I've just been completely in love with roller hockey. There's just something about it that just really gets me going, man. I love it. And the possession game, the 4-on-4, the no rules with the offsides and the icing, it's all very unique and very special. And yeah, I think that with the rinks out here, it makes the game more exciting for the fans, for sure. And as a young kid coming up, a junior or whatnot, try to find a team that maybe you think. Obviously, research the city, try to find out a little bit about the team, find out about the program, talk to the president, just try to throw your name out there any way that you can to get yourself a little bit more exposure. And I think that that'll go a long way. I think, the teams are always looking for players, especially players that understand, and you don't have to have the best shot. You don't have to be the fastest, right? For me, roller hockey is about smarts and about understanding how to play the game. And if you can do that, if you can bring that to the table, any team will be lucky to have you.
I think the advice will be registered for our young players here. I know quite a lot that are quite motivated. So at some point you mentioned loyalty, and I told you before that there'll be a little surprise. So I'm just going to share my screen here.
Okay.
I get to see it. Hopefully you can hear it as well. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
Oh,
So
this guy.
let's go. He has a little message for you.
Hey, PJ. Apparently I have to do a little video for you again. Just wanted to say that even though you betrayed us and left the Corsair a year ago to go to the arch nemesis Villeneuve, well, now it's my turn. I'm moving away. We're not going to be neighbors anymore. But I wanted to wish you the best of luck, lots of love, and hope we play again together, buddy.
So here you go. Danny Glasgow.
Yeah, Lenny's a good guy. Lenny's a good guy. We're neighbors, so he lives down the street from me. During this quarantine, he's been a big, I don't want to say a baby about it, but I've tried to go over and play, Xbox and NHL 20 with him, but he's not having that. So no, Lenny's a great guy. Thing about Lenny is he is so competitive and so passionate about roller hockey. Sometimes coaches don't see that. And when I was coaching that team with him, I see these things, because I get what he's trying to do. He works out off the rink. He's trying to do all that he can to help his teammates on the rink to be successful, to win games. And he's a guy that, for me, that I feel like teams can really benefit from. He's a guy that'll do the dirty work in the corners. He'll get the puck for the scorers or whatever it is. And not everybody's going to be the goal scorer. Not everyone's going to be like a Travis Noe or a Junior Cadiz, right? So you have to find what you're the best at. Figure out early what you bring to the table that other teams don't have. And if you can do that to the best of your ability, like Lenny's always done, bring the passion, bring the hard work. You can't teach hard work. And that's something that is just you have to have and you have to want it, right? And the skill, you can teach the skill. You can teach the toe drags. You can teach the quick feet. That's all part of off-ice training. But when it comes down to the hard work and the determination and the want, that's something that Lenny's always had. And for me, I've always looked at him as a guy that brings that every single game and every single practice. And that's something that benefits most teams. And he's a great guy. And I'm glad that he sent that message. Even though I didn't betray Paris, it was my time to go. I needed to move on to greener pastures, but we'll let that one slide.
I guess so. Anyway, we're almost at the end of our talk today. We have a little game for every single of our guests. So, and you can already answer one of the questions. So the first one is, what is your favorite club in ice and inline hockey?
So my favorite NHL club is the Anaheim Ducks. I grew up very close to there. Actually, when I was in primary school, my father would take me out of school. He would sign my doctor's note for me, and he would take me out to go watch them practice, which was incredible when I was a younger kid. Got to watch these guys like Paul Kariya, Teemu Selanne, and then afterwards wait for their autograph. So for me, it's always been the Anaheim Ducks. I've been a big fan ever since they came into the NHL. So Ducks are my ice hockey team, and roller hockey team, I have to go with my own team if that's allowed. Mission Levada Snipers.
That's allowed. You can be biased.
I've been with them. I'm very biased for sure. I love my team. Good group of guys, great coaching. I think, we have the best goaltender in the world, in my opinion, Troy Redmond. And just the battles that I've been through with these guys, it shows a lot to the character of our team and how we've been so successful over the years. And I hope that we just continue the trend.
And next question is, who is your favorite player, both in ice and inline hockey?
So he ice hockey, he doesn't play anymore, but I've always looked up to a guy who played for the Detroit Red Wings, Nicholas Lidstrom. For me, he was just the perfect defenseman. He wasn't bigger. He wasn't faster. He wasn't stronger. He didn't have the best shot, but he did everything so intelligently on the rink. He was great with his body positioning, and as a defenseman, he's the guy that I really looked up to, and I wanted to kind of model my game after because of how smart he was. Roller hockey is all about intelligence, and if you are smart, you will be successful. So I always wanted to look up to the smarter players, not the guys that go coast to coast, not the guys that with the big slap shots from the point, but this guy for me was my idol growing up for sure. Roller hockey is a little bit more tricky. I think if I was to say there's a guy that I really enjoy playing with this guy, but for sure, Nathan Sigmund, he's a guy that can do everything on the roller rink. He can play offense. He can score amazing goals. He can play defense. He can play against your top players. He's extremely intelligent with the puck. He's extremely shifty on his wheels, and he just understands the right way to play roller hockey. And for me, he's a guy that I really enjoy watching and enjoy playing with for sure. And he's one of my good buddies as well. So I got to say Nicholas Lidstrom and Nathan Sigmund.
All right, so next question is, what is your favorite rink, ice and inline again?
Favorite rink? Okay. For ice hockey, that's a good question. I actually don't really have it. You know what? I did get to play one time at Joe Louis Arena, which is where the Detroit Red Wings play, where they used to play. Now they have Little Caesars Arena, but before they had a historic arena called Joe Louis, and I've played there before as like a practice. And for me, that was incredible. Obviously, idolizing Lidstrom and watching the Red Wings when they were winning championships. For me, that was just very cool to see all the banners hanging up in the rafters and all the championships that they've won. For me, that was probably my favorite rink that I've ever played at. Roller hockey is very simple. It's up the street from where I live in California, the Irvine Inline. It's 3 rinks that are just perfect size, perfect floor. The fact that it's basically outdoors with a roof. So you have the sunshine, you have the California breeze, and the ocean is maybe 10 minutes away. And for me, it's like the atmosphere of the rink is just, when I was younger, I was there all the time with families, with friends. And I think that just the atmosphere of being at the rink, watching other people play, keeping all your equipment on, and then basically hopping from rink to rink while you're playing in different divisions. For me, that's something I'll always remember. And for me, it's always been Irvine Inline.
And the last one of the little challenge, and you can be completely biased. What is your favorite national team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm team France. No. For sure, USA. I mean, last year we had an incredible group. It was a privilege to be a part of that team. A lot of fun to play with those guys. A lot of fun off the rink with those guys on our days off. We all hung out together, played volleyball as a team, went in the water as a team. Obviously, for me, it's Team USA all the way.
Perfect. So that's the end for the challenge. So now we have about a couple of minutes to answer a couple of questions from the audience. So we have one from Dorian here. What is your favorite hockey YouTube channel or YouTuber?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's a few. It depends if we going ice hockey or roller or both, or it doesn't matter.
I think it wasn't specific, so I guess any of them.
I think Pavel Barber does a really good job. He explains not just like stick handling drills, but he also will review NHL players and explain plays that they've made, maybe really nice moves that they've done, and he elaborates on why they did what they did and how they were so successful doing it. For example, I just saw him post a video of Patrick Kane making an unbelievable spinorama backhand pass backdoor to Phil Kessel for a tap-in goal at the World Championships. And that's just something that, Pavel Barber can't do that, but he can explain how Patrick Kane does it because he's very knowledgeable about the game. So Pavel Barber for the ice hockey side, and then I think also John Chavo from Team USA, Mission Black Ice. He does a very good job of growing the sport of roller hockey, promoting the game, and obviously he's got very sick hands, so he can do those things with the puck that most of us can't do, can't even dream of, actually. So I would say, yeah, Pavel Barber and then John Chavo.
Okay, so for the next one, we have still have time for one more question. So the next one is from Michael Crean. You played at a couple of IHF World Champs also. How did they compare to World Roller Games?
So yeah, IHF is a completely different style of hockey. The IHF is ice hockey based, so you have a massive rink. It's an Olympic-sized sheet with ice court. You have an offsides rule at the red line where you cannot pass the puck across. You have different teams like Finland, Sweden that compete at the top level that are amazing teams. And it's extremely professional the way it's run. Each game is within 2-hour time block. You have your 4 12-minute periods, which is a very long game. But everything about IHF, if I could describe it in one word, it's extremely professional. The World Roller Games is very roller hockey biased. It's very roller hockey based. You have the smaller rinks. You have the smaller nets. You have no rules with icing and offsides. You have sometimes buildings that don't really support air conditioning for roller hockey, which I think is a big thing. You can't just go to Barcelona and have the sun hitting on you all day long and expect to be at your top level. So for me, it's just very different styles. It's almost like comparing USA and French roller hockey. You have the French roller hockey, which is based on the roller side of the roller. What'd you say? The name of the event? Sorry, the World Games. Sorry, the World Games. And then you have USA, which is almost more like IHF, where you have the bigger rinks, the more space to make plays. Faster players are usually more beneficial on these floors, but they're just completely different styles and they're kind of opposites, actually. To be honest with you, they're both very unique in their own way, but both extremely gratifying to play on for sure.
All right. Anyway, I think our time is up here. So thanks a lot, PJ, for being here for the Hockey Thursday talk. Glad to have you. I'm just going to finish this talk just to talk about a little situation that we have in Ireland here. Our only inline hockey rink in Longford is having some financial difficulties due to the COVID-19 situation. There has been a lot of donation already done. So just for our audience and everybody that follows the Hockey Thursday talk, if you can just share the information or even make a little donation, that will be appreciated for everyone playing the sport in Ireland. Also, IHI has put some jerseys of the national team for sale if you want to participate and help the rink. So
I would buy a Matthew Berton jersey.
Okay.